A very good afternoon, everybody. In our previous tutorial, we have seen a brief introduction about Java. Proceeding further, we would like to work on Java Virtual Machine. As we know that Java is a high-level programming language. A program written in high-level language cannot be run on any machine directly. High-level language is any programming language which is written in the human form, just like human form are the languages like C, C++, Java. These are the high level languages, and to these high level programming languages are not understood by the system, by the computer. These type of programming languages need to be converted into machine code. These machine codes are understood by the system and are known as low level language. For the conversion of high level language to low level language, we need a compiler or an interpreter. To convert assembly language to machine language, we need assembler. So first it needs to be translated to that particular machine language. The Java C compiler does this thing. It takes a Java program .java file containing the source code and translates into machine code refers to as bytecode or dot class file. Now these bytecodes are considered as the machine code which is understood by the system or the compiler or the setup of the Java to process the entire execution of the program. Java virtual machine is a virtual machine that resides in the real machine. That is, it is residing inside your system, and the machine language for JVM is bytecode. Now this makes it easier for compiler as it has to generate bytecode for JVM rather than different machine code for each type of machine. I would like to tell you that JVM, every operating system has its own and has a different JVM. JVM executes the bytecode generated by the compiler and produce the output. JVM is one that makes the Java platform independent, or we can say that Java is JVM dependent. Now, understanding the primary function of JVM, that is to execute the bytecode produced by the compiler. Each operating system has different JVM, however, the output they produce after execution of the bytecode is same across all the operating systems. Likewise, I said that all operating system has its own JVM. Now, which means that a bytecode generated on Windows can run on Mac or Apple operating system or any other operating system, and a bytecode generated on Apple operating system can be made run on Windows operating system. That is why we call Java as platform independent. The same thing can be seen in the following diagram. Now we have a source code. Source code is .java file. Now it is converted or sent to the compiler. The compiler for Java is Java C. Now this Java C converts it into bytecode .class file. Now this .class file is then platform dependent and is made to run by JVM. Now this JVM, since JVM is different for all operating system, you can see that this JVM makes it run for any other operating system. Now, so when we are summarize the entire thing, the Java virtual machine is a virtual machine that runs on actual machine on your system and it is executing the Java code. The JVM does not understand the Java code. That is why we need to have Java C. Java C is the compiler that compiles the .java files to obtain the .class file that contains the bytecode which is understood by JVM. JVM makes the Java portable and which means that you need to write once and run anywhere. Each operating system has different JVM. However, the output they produce after execution of the bytecode is same across all the operating systems. Now let us have a look to the architecture of JVM, which is very important. Now these are the class files. Now from the class file it moves to the class loader. From the loader, we have method area, heap, stack, PC, registers, native method stack, and then we have the execution engine. From the execution engine, it has native method interface, then native method libraries. Now, class loader. The class loader reads the .class file and save the bytecode in the method area. You can see over here, the class loader reads the .class file and then it saves the bytecode in the method area. In this area, you can see the box. Now from the method area, this is the only one method area in JVM which is shared among all the classes. Now this area is shared among all the classes. This holds the class level information for each .class file. Heap. Heap is a part of JVM where objects are allocated. JVM creates a class object for each .class file. Stack. Stack is also a part of JVM memory, but unlike heap, it is used for storing temporary variables. PC registers. This keep tracks of which instruction has been executed and which one is going to be executed. Since instructions are executed by threads, each thread has a separate PC register. Registers are installed on the motherboard and these hold the temporary data and holds the instructions, which instructions are going to be read now and which instructions are going to be read later on. Now native method stack, a native method can access the running data across the virtual machine. Native method interface, it enables the Java code to call or be called by native applications. Native applications are the programs that are specified to the hardware and operating system of a system. Garbage collection. Garbage collection keeps the system free out of unwanted memory space which is held by the illegal data or unwanted data. A class interface is explicitly created by Java code and after use it is automatically destroyed by garbage collection for memory management. Now this is all about the architecture of JVM. This is how it is going to run by the system. We can see that from the class file, the .class file is loaded and the bytecode is loaded on the class loader. It proceeds to the method area. From method area, we have then again the heap part. Heap part are the things where the objects are located and JVM creates a class object for each .class file. In the stack, it is also a part of JVM memory, and it is stored for storing temporary variables. PC registers hold the address of the instructions, which instructions are going to be read now and which instructions are going to be read later on. Now, a native method can access the runtime data areas of the virtual machine. Now, let us proceed to let us know the difference between JVM, JRE and JDK. JRE is the Java runtime environment. It is the environment within which the Java virtual machine runs. And JRE contains the Java virtual machine, class libraries, and other files including development tools such as compiler and debugger, which means you can run the code in JRE but you cannot compile the code in JRE. JVM, as we have discussed already, JVM runs the program by using the class, libraries and files provided by the JRE. We can just see now JRE. In JRE we have JVM and then we have all the libraries and compiled class and files in this. Now proceeding further, JDK. JDK is the Java Development Kit. JDK is a superset of JRE. It contains everything that JRE has along with the development tools such as compiler and debugger, etc. In the diagram you can see that in JDK we have JRE, then we have compiler, debugger and other development tools, and inside JRE we have JVM and other libraries and compiled class files. This is what is all about JVM and how the Java codes are being run and how it is dependent on JVM, and from JVM any codes that are being released that are being accepted by all the operating system. Hence it is known as the platform independent. In the next chapter we are going to start with the programming structure, which we have the Java first program, which we are going to deal in our next topic.